Hi guys, it's me, Juice Livingston again, and I would like to continue my little expose about movies about airplanes from last year that I covered an airplane movie. And in this case, I've decided to talk about a spoof movie, a local comedy about airplanes and airports. And I think the main spoof target in this movie is the airport movies, the entire trilogy, of which I've only seen two of them so far on Netflix. Which, yeah, as Netflix is giving me kind of run around and giving me a little bit of aggravation. I'll talk about that in my next video. So anyway, this movie is awesome, and I believe that it's Leslie Nielsen in his first movie role that actually was a pure comedy. We all know him for all his rich comedy and the stupid humor in some of his movies. But this is like the first movie where he was a comedian. I know it's kind of hard for me to say that because I never saw him in these type of movies before, but he was actually known for being a comic, not a comic, a type of a dramatic actor, a serious type person. So before this, he was all drama and seriousness and all that. Now he's a comic. I have no idea why he decided to switch. Maybe to get more material, maybe to lighten up his mood a little bit. But it stuck. It stuck pretty well. Anyway, this movie goes beyond the whole comedy and jokes about just the airport and the airplanes in general, and it involves some other comedy as well. But unfortunately, this movie came out in 1980s. So when this movie brought heavily on like 70s humor and 60s humor, so some of it didn't exactly age right. And yet it was a much more simple time with the Me Too movement, with the that racist movement, or there are many jokes in there that probably wouldn't be made today. And if anybody were to make these jokes in present movies, they'd probably get the axe for it. Case in point, the main character named Ted, and he's played by Robert Hayes. And if we go back into like a flashback type of storytelling, like in Forrest Gump, for example, he always makes it so that the person next to him wants to commit suicide. Now, I know that suicide is like one of those topics that pretty much untouchable now. Don't do it. Don't even mention. Don't even joke about that kind of thing. But this movie was actually presented kind of funny. Like you always dread sitting next to that one person on the airplane that won't shut up, whether it be in English or some other language or something, and you just dread that because you're on like a 3 hour plus flight with somebody, and they won't shut up about whatever topic it may be. So anyway, the first woman who he talks to is an old lady, and he talks about how he met his love, Elaine, played by Julia Haggard. Haggerty. And let me tell you something. I'm pretty sure these two are not related, but if you squint real hard, they could be siblings. I swear to God, that's what I feel in my little blood heart. But anyway, so they do like a children's story, which involves a very funny spoof of the disco scene in Saturday Night Fever, by which Ted's over there dancing up with the black white vest, like John Travolta was in that movie. And he did he goes into the whole Russian dance technique, completely juggling and just in general stupidity. No dancer could ever do between him and Elaine. So anyway, in the story, the woman hanged herself. Okay, that's kind of funny. If you're in the right mood for it. Remember, it was in the 80s. The late 70s, early 80s. With a different time back then. So anyway, then he tells the story next to a Japanese guy. Okay, so he looks like a regular soldier. Now the funny thing is that he's talking, and Ted was a World War II pilot. That doesn't sound too good because he was in World War II, and the Japanese were enemies at that point in time. So that's a setup for a very bad joke all around. So anyway, they feature that. So at the end of the story, you don't mention anything about the whole Japanese guy versus the American person, which is good. But then they had the guy commit suicide by stabbing himself in the stomach with a samurai sword. Now, that's I draw a line with that, because that's one of them. That's like a suicide that only that's racially charged. So you got the joke about committing suicide, plus you got the added joke about them making fun of Japanese people, because Japanese people supposedly did that to retain honor, which I didn't find funny. And the third iteration of that joke was this guy telling the story next to Indian gentleman with the turban and everything, which I'm pretty sure that not all Indian people wear those turbans, and that I'm 100% sure that they don't wear it unless like official meetings or like their particular religious and all that. So that was kind of in poor taste too, like saying, "Hey yo, I'm Indian," that type of thing. But anyway, they had that guy get so bored and so sick of this guy's story that instead of actually himself in any other way, they do it with the guy what you put that wants to emulate, and by that I mean that he poured gasoline all over himself, and he was about to strike a match before the guy was taken away from his needs. So he ended up blowing up anyway. Because I guess it was funny that he continued on with it, even on the match was put out. But the emulation thing is like a way of I think it's any way of protest, like over there, I hate you so much that I'm gonna protest by self-immolation. It's like a cultural thing just for those people. So it's kind of like in real poor taste. Another thing in poor taste was that the captain of the pilot guy was actually had a little boy come up to the cabin, because that's what kids did back then. Whenever they went on there, whenever they went to whenever they went on an airplane, they would always get tours of the cockpit and stuff. See all the pilots working out and all that, and just having a good time and learning about the mechanics of a plane like that. So anyway, the captain of the plane, the main pilot, was saying, "Oh, Timmy, have you ever seen a grown man naked in a hot tub before? Have you ever seen this, that, and the other thing?" It's like, that's so inappropriate. Because the kid's a minor, first of all. And second of all, you're trying to hit another little boy. So that's so totally wrong. But the funny is that, because they got to put up, the co-pilot was none other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's just like real funny because he was saying, you're not even basketball player from the Lakers. I know I need basketball back then, but he was in the Lakers like the last show. She was like, no, I'm not the guy. My name is Murdoch. And he said, no, you're the guy from the basketball. You're the guy from the basketball games. I like you, but my father said you suck. And so he says, I've been over there on the court working my bundle off. If your father would like to come and see me work my butt off, I can arrange that. So he was getting real pissy with the kid. So anyway, that's really funny. Another funny part was that they had this little girl on there that I swear to God was the basis for the kid for the Langoliers, Dinah. And she was laying down on a cot, and she had to go for a heart transplant. She had to go to Chicago for that reason. And it was funny because they showed the heart transplant donor heart, and the heart was bouncing up and down like a lawnmower. And it was so funny because the guy talking on the phone and the heart's bouncing up and down. They got Maxine jumping me. So anyway, the kid's laying there on this cot, which I don't think it's allowed anymore on airplanes. If it was allowed at all, I would think that they would get the kid into a chair or something, a regular seat, because of safety reasons. And also, so the aide that was with her, the stewardess was with borrowed a nun's guitar and was singing a song to them, and it was so funny that that she was singing the song, and when she was doing that, she not got the idea of the kid's arm, and it was funny because the kid's over there dying and making all kinds of sour patch faces and stuff. And meanwhile, no one else gives shit. Even though aide wouldn't give a crap about her until she eventually put the IV back into her arm. I'm not gonna talk like that. So that was funny. And the girl knocked the IV out again. So the time the aide was over there trying to get it back into the hole. And it was just so funny. So anyway, they that. And then I read a joke about a guy that was waiting for a cab to start going. Meanwhile, you see the timer going off and on, off and on, off, and then increasing the fare. I don't think that at the end of the movie, I don't think that guy was actually taken anywhere. I think it was supposed to be Ted's big fare that he took and left there at the airport. So anyway, that was some of the inappropriate jokes of Airplane. And yes, when you hear the Airplane, you have to do it with an exclamation point, because apparently that's an important thing to Airplane. Anyway, it started with a spoof of Jaws, with the big wing at the big tail wing at the plane going like the Jaws fin going through the clouds. You could actually see the whole the lines in the clouds where the plane was supposed to go. And then they also have the part where those guys on the runway that go, yeah, go right, go right, go right, go left, go right, go left. The guy the plane on the ground. They had this guy there that was doing that, and he said, okay, to his friend over there, look at which way to go over to the coffee place. The guy says, you go right. By doing that, they called the airplane to go into the airport. Very funny. No one got injured, thank God. Which brings me to the question, why no one was injured by doing that? I have insurance across to every which way. Anyway, it's not important. What is important is that Ted and Elaine Street are like strange lovers. And then they both plane, and then there's food poisoning on the fish dishes over there. And so they had that Dr. Rumack, we love the innocent character, drum up a pleasant flyer, because the co-pilot and the pilot are both sick as dogs because of bad fish that they ate. Yeah, everyone that had fish got sick, and everyone that had chicken is fine. So anyway, yeah, countless jokes, many of which are inappropriate for today's audiences. Like, for example, they have the one white woman over there, an older white woman, which I would compare to my very first agent in elementary school, Pat Connell. And it's funny, they had two black guys over there dressed in the best 70s outfits, in which they were speaking jive. And I can understand them fine. And I'm about as white as you can make a person. But the joke was that no one else could understand them except this one white woman, and she could actually speak jive to them too. But I know that there will be some people in the audience nowadays that would whine and complain about that. Saying that's racist and it's not. I do see the point where it being racist and stuff. Now also, there's another part where this woman gets hysterical because her the plane's going into the water, into land or something, and crash. And she's hysterical. and so someone grabs her by the shoulders, shakes her, and says, "Yeah, hold yourself." And then the next person in line goes over to the woman and does the same thing only a little more violently and smacks her across the face and says, "Yeah, hold yourself." And then the next person in line does a little bit more to it and then double slaps her in the face. And then you see the rest of the people on the line saying that, getting ready to do the same thing to her, but this time there are people with wrenches, baseball bats, great vest knuckles, all the other stuff too. They can go for melee weapons. Now, I think that this is a little bit over the top, a little too much hammering the joke, quite literally, and there would have to be a woman that has to get beaten up all the time by these people. I don't think so. I think they were just playing on the fact that they were, women theoretically more stuff, which I don't believe one bit. But, they thought it was funny. Kind of like a Family Guy bit that goes on a little too long, like when Peter stubs his knee and something and he goes, for the next 2 minutes. And it's overkill. Now, also, this movie was the first time in which you hear Leslie Nielsen used that joke where he said, "And don't call me Shirley. And don't call me Shirley again. Don't call me Shirley." That was funny because it was spaced out and it was only like twice, not the whole movie. And another inappropriate scene was when Lane is called in to help blow up the oil pirate, which Nick Otto, the same name as the guy from The Simpsons, to drive the bus. And the blow up nozzle, I guess you would call it, is right on his belt area. You catch my drift. So when she's blow up, quite literally, you see Otto smiling with a big grin on his face. I think you know where this is going with this. That was actually real funny. I would say there were more jokes, joke, but not too much. And some jokes were mostly layered, and some of them were hits. Most of them were hits. I would say 80% of them were hits, and the other 20% were like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's too much. Even back then, it was too much. Although back then I thought it was hilarious. Many of them were allowed to import taste. But they eventually get some Ted and Eileen together again. Very nice, very romantic. And it was funny that at the end, after Ted finally landed the plane from Top Gun, he deployed the emergency, the blow slide out the door, for a fire escape. And the flight attendant was like, "Have a nice day. Have a nice day. It was good flying with you guys." This whole event was a big disaster for everyone involved. And there was even Lloyd Bridges, which I think was was his father and was Bob was his father. Can't think of his offhand right now. The dude, he was the dude. And we all look at it later on. I mean, he was a very well-known guy for acting. And boy, this movie was hilarious. I was thinking that, also I find that, Lane's hair was very poofy for a professional hairline to this. You know, she had hair like mine when it was longer. So, and that was very professional. Same with the others, but they haven't put their hair in a bun for a reason, and that'd be make sure that if fans need you would be you will be able to help them out without the hair getting in the way. So anyway, we never actually do see what gave Ted such trauma in the past when he was flying in World War II. It's implied that he crashed, but we never actually showed what happened. I think that was for the best. Speaking of crashing planes, it was funny. They had this one part where, toward the end of the movie, some people were watching a movie about, trying to calm down from the whole, runaway plane, about to crash and die and kill everyone over there. So they had a movie about plane crashing for test dummies. That was actually pretty funny. This movie didn't hold back on anything. So I'm sure that there wasn't any political correctness and stuff involved back then. And there's also a part where someone wanted to call his wife, so he put the air conditioning on. A whole gale force wind blew right in their faces, and it was so funny, so over the top. And of course, when they all landed, it was so rough that even the landing gear failed on them. So yeah, it was all a very happy ending. Now, Elaine and Ted got back together. Ted got over his PTSD and everything else. It was all good. Everyone recovered from whatever poisoning they had there. And everything was good. Everyone had a happy ending. Even Otto, and this is really funny because they had something on the pilot seat, and then they had a female blow up doll on the side, and he turns the camera and winks at the camera, which is funny because in the whole story of Bell, whenever they had the autopilot, they had stationary eyes like a blow toy. But when this one scene happened, they gave him a winkable eye to show that he can have a very happy ending with the stewardess blow toy. Now, I believe that at this point at least, they used to have stewardesses and stewards that were able to handle the plane if anything would happen. They wouldn't go right away to somebody, Could somebody help fly the plane? I'll pass out. But this movie was funny, at least for me, because I had an extreme nostalgia for it. But if you show the modern audience of this and modern kids this movie, they'd be like, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. It's too too sexual, too racial, too racist. Speaking which, they got to play that Japanese soldier that committed seppuku. I think that's what they call it. He played by James Hong from Mulan movies. It's really fun. I didn't recognize the guy with it. You know, there were a lot of guys that were in it. Like, for example, they had the guy, can't think of the name right offhand, but the Fisher guy in Breaking Bad, the bald-headed guy that everyone loves, he was in there. I'm sure he was young there too, but whatever. This is Leslie Nielsen's debut as a comic, I believe, and he did this as an Oscar because every line that he said that was meant to be funny, he gives real 100%. Real 100% conviction of being a street man. It was like, and don't call me Shirley. I would bust up when I heard that, when he did that. Cause I can't help myself when it comes to that kind of thing. But these people were funny. Oh hell. Oh yeah, another funny bit was that during Kid's little flashback when they met, there were two tough people in the bar that got in a big bar fight. And I'll guess who they were. Two Girl Scouts. Yeah. Two Girl Scouts in a very rough bar that were actually fighting each other over something stupid. They were arm wrestling and then they ended up fighting one another. That's fun as well. But they don't make movies like that anymore. Not like that, not like Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles, because people are too afraid to do anything really audacious and really creative and really almost offensive. Some of the kids go a little too far, like with the woman getting hit all the time. But I recommend it for people that like comedies and things of that nature, spoofs and parodies. But I only recommend this, the only caveat that you understand that it was just time back then. A more innocent, more pure time. When directors and writers didn't get away with this kind of thing. But yeah, I thank you for watching my little review about Airplane. Was a good movie. Now, of course, I did this for August 27th, 2026. I might do another movie next year, do it Airplanes. This is pretty funny. Anyway, if you like what you see here, and want to see more on my channel and such, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And of course, I'm gonna give this movie a gigantic happy face and seal of approval because it's really fun. The whole movie. You can contact me by get any future information my future videos by call me or text me at 631-707-3707. And my Facebook is Joseph Messina. My Instagram is JJ Maelstrom. And my email is JJ's Viewing Channel at gmail.com. So, I wish she traveled from the skies. I salute all you guys and girls who like this type of stuff. Parodies and some questionable jokes. Peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in Interland. Oh yeah, before I forget. Funny thing, my father wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force. But I couldn't do it because he lacked a college education. And apparently those fly boys need to have one. So unfortunately couldn't do that. Or fly in a commercial jet, whatever. So yeah, that was an interesting piece of trivia from you about my father. So I'll see you later to talk. See you around. See you real soon. Bye bye, sayonara.